welcome everyone to our 8th episode of our ABAP on HANA comments for HANA training on YouTube with me Amrit. And in the previous session we saw some of the new ABAP syntaxes. We saw the enhancement between enhancement in SQL and enhancement in our ABAP language. We saw lots of things. Then let's move on to some next part in our new syntax, which is value expression. Value expression, very important, guys. So what is a value expression? So before that, let me just take an example. For example, let's say I have an employee table. And I want to simply display its data. So what I will do? Earlier I was creating a structure, right? I was simply creating a structure using this way. A local structure I would create, and its data element from my table. Then let's say another column and its data element. Okay. Then what we were doing? We were simply creating an internal table. So lt employee type table of GUI employee, then work area type GUI employee, right? Then we were simply storing it, right? Either bringing the data from using select query or by default storing the data manually. So let's say I'm storing an employee ID here, an employee name here, a name here, then I'm appending it, and I will simply clear the work area, right? This is what we were doing. Or if I have to add some more rows, I will use this approach. One more row, one more row. Okay, then I'm simply displaying it. So into work area and then displaying it using loop. We all know all these things, right? So write operation, ls employee ID, and then displaying another one, and then employee name, okay. Let's activate it and execute it. Perfect, my data is getting displayed. So this is my old syntax, creating the structure, declaring internal table and work area, storing the data and simply displaying it. But now we have the concept of value expression here. So using value expression, we can reduce the lengthiness of code and store the data into a single line. We can directly store the data into a single line. So when we use the value expression, system allocates memory which is compatible with the data. System allocates memory which is compatible with the data. which is compatible with the data. So now with value expression coming into the picture, we can directly declare an internal table here. Let's declare our one internal table, LT data, type table of my structure, employee. We need a default key here with default key, and we don't need to display like this way. We don't need to display like this way. Nothing. We don't need to display here. We can directly comment it out. We will directly use data keyword, LT employee, and I'm going to simply use value expression here. Value followed by my internal table, LT data, and I can now directly store the data in between. I can directly store the data in between. So here emp id is equal to 101, emp name we can store as many data as possible. Okay, another one. We can store as many data as possible. Now here I can directly use the inline data declaration to declare my work area, and we will be able to get our data. Let's declare it, activate, run as web application. See, same to same. How much we have saved our space now. We don't need to write so much lengthiness of code. A single line storing all kind of data, single line, easily. Then we have corresponding keyword. So we also have corresponding keyword, corresponding. After value we have corresponding. We can use corresponding keyword to copy the content of one internal table into another. To copy the content of one internal table into another, we can directly use a copy keyword. So here you can see corresponding. See the beauty of corresponding. Let's say I'm naming it LT underscore EMP is equal to corresponding LT corresponding LT data, which is my type here declared, and in it now I am using my LT employee. So my whatever data of LT employee is, it will be automatically transferred into LT EMP, all the data using just corresponding keyword. So here if I will try to display it now, LT EMP, let's check, activate, run as a web application. See, still same output. So this is one way. Then we also have some more value operations. We can use value has directly. We can directly use value has if you don't want to declare in this format. You can follow your original earlier one. So using value has, let's go and create it, comment it out. Let's say I'm declaring internal table here, data LTEMP type table of GUI employee, and I'm simply displaying the data. So adding the data. LTEMP is equal to value hash, and in the hash I'm going to simply add all my datas here. So EMP ID 11, EMP name, then another one, EMP ID is equal to 102, EMP name is equal to another one, third, 103, 103, EMP name is equal to okay, 3 records here. Save it. LTEMP loop, we will display it. So let's check that. Right click, run as a web application. See, correct output still. So in the value expression, we can directly use value keyword. We can also use value has keyword to directly store multiple records into the internal table, right? Then we have the next thing here. This was first for today, then corresponding. Then we have next, third one, class object creation. Class object creation using new syntax. So earlier how we were declaring. So if you remember how we were declaring in objects, our objects, how we were declaring it. So if you have to declare a object, earlier we were creating its reference first. So data, let's say LOBJ, type ref2, some Z class name, and then we used to create object LOBJ. This was our syntax to create our objects. But what SAP has done, it has taken reference from C++ programming and Java programming. We can use new keyword directly here. We can use new keyword to declare objects. We can directly use new keywords to declare objects. So data LOBJ is equal to new keyword is class name, and done. This is your object. This is how we can declare our objects. Okay. Then we can use table operation instead of read table. Instead of read table, we can use table operation directly to perform any read operation. We can directly use table operation to perform a read operation. So let's see that. Then we have table type also. So we can using table type to create internal table with data. So let's create that. So data lt table is equal to value keyword, my table type. Let's bring that table type. So the table type name is z employee underscore table. I believe its name is correct. Let me just check through it. Z table employee. Okay, z table employee. And I'm going to simply store some values. So employee ID is equal to 101, employee name is equal to some value here, then another one, another value, employee ID is equal to 102, employee name is equal to value here, okay, storing the data, right, storing the data. Then now what we used to do, we used to perform read operation earlier. So read operations earlier, read table, lt employee, lt table into data ls employee, and with key employee id is equal to some value, one of the values, and display it. This is what we used to do earlier. Write operation ls employee emp id and ls employee emp name. This is what we used to do, but we don't need it anymore. We don't need this read operation anymore. We can directly use table operation. We don't need this read operation, but I will go for using table operation directly. Table operation. So data work area name is equal to lt table, and I will pass direct the column that I am looking for. See, lt table direct column. Here instead of parenthesis I will use brackets. Activate it and check the output. See, it's working perfectly fine. So we can use our table operation instead of, read operation. We can use table operation instead of read operation. Thank you very much for watching the video. This was all about our new ABAP syntaxes. From the next part we will see our HANA database. Thank you very much.